Hey, welcome back to my channel. So today I thought we could go through my collection and do a ranking video. My first time doing one of these. I thought it would be a fun little kind of way to mix things up a little bit. And today I thought we would go with Natasha Deanna. So if this ends up being something that you guys like and want to see more of, I can definitely do more brands that I have in my collection. It'd be nice to do it like with ones that I have numerous ones of, but I can definitely do that. If there's any brands in particular that you would be curious to see, then you can mention them in the comments below. But if you are interested to see what Natasha Deanna palettes I have and where they fall in my ranking, then keep on watching. Alright, I feel like I have to start this off with none of these palettes are palettes that I hate. I don't hate any of the palettes that I own. If I hated a palette, I've decluttered it already. So none of these are ones I hate. There's just definitely some that I am more likely to use than others. So I based my thoughts off that and just like what I'm more drawn to. So that was my decision here. If there are any palettes that you would rank higher, we're all allowed to have our different opinions, so you can feel your way about it, I'll feel my way about it, but let's just have some fun with this and not take it too seriously. So to start off with, my bottom one, I guess I should have counted. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 10 Natasha Deanna palettes, and at the bottom is the Tropic palette. I don't think this is too much of a surprise. I think this fell into the bottom of a lot of people's rankings. Just when it comes down to the quality of the shadows and the color story itself, I just don't think it's something that a lot of people have gravitated towards. Hence why I got this palette on a really good discount from Sephora, just because I don't think anybody else was wanting it. But I still think it's beautiful. I love the neutrals and the tones that they have with these fun tropical pops. I think it's still a really fun, pretty palette, but is it something that I reach for all the time? No. So that is why I place this in the bottom. All right, next is the Jubilee 5 pan. This is something that I actually got in a BoxyCharm when I was still getting BoxyCharm, and it's not something that I think I necessarily would have picked myself, but I think it's really fun. I love that this dark shade that almost looks like it's more of like a black is actually a really deep blue. Because it is like one of her cream to matte formulas though, it is not going to come across this deep unless you build it up. But I do find that you can build it up beautifully. This one ranked higher than the Tropic palette just because I do feel like I would be more drawn to do a look with this, but it is lower down on my list because it's not something that I really almost ever reach for. So I couldn't put it above the other palettes that I have. But yeah, I still think it is a gorgeous little palette and something that I'm happy to hold on to in my collection and have some fun with. So let's move on to the next one. All right, so next we have another one of her larger 15 palettes, and this is the Lila, is it Lila or Lila? Lila palette. This has a beautiful faux leather outer packaging, this metallic purple. Oh, I lusted over this palette for so long, which you might find shocking then, that is lower down, but I've since collected numerous more palettes from her that I've just grown to love more than this one. This is still though, this has my heart. I'll never get rid of this palette. I absolutely love it. You can see she has been loved. I just love the sort of jewel smoky tones that this gives. I think it has some gorgeous metallic shades in it. The formula is stunning. It's just not something that I've gravitated towards a lot since building up my collection a lot more since I've had this. This is a palette that was definitely in the earlier days of my makeup collection, and I will never get rid of it, but I don't really reach for it very often, but still love it a lot. All right, next up, a very new addition to my collection is the Natasha Deanna Zendo palette. Very reflective outer packaging, let's see the inside. I think it is a gorgeous color story. I love the greens and like turquoise teals with those neutrals. I like that the neutrals are more of like a peachy tone. Those are definitely shades when it comes to neutrals that I'm more drawn to. And I think it's really pretty, but it is very neutral based. So is it something that I think of to use all the time? No, I've kind of done like one look with it and then I set it aside and I haven't touched it again. So, but it's still really new, so I haven't had a lot of opportunity to use it. But I definitely think I'm more likely to gravitate towards this than the palettes before. So it is higher up, but still just not quite, you know, something where I'm super excited to play with it again. So yeah, just that's where that lands with my ranking so far, but still a absolutely gorgeous palette and happy to have it in my collection. All right, another newer one to my collection. This is the Trichrome or Triochrome palette from Natasha. I don't know why I'm saying it's from Natasha Deanna. They're all from Natasha Deanna. And this is new to my collection, like I already said. Gorgeous outer packaging. This is the inside. I think it is a really fun color story. I was really on the fence about getting this one because a lot of people's feedback and reviews were super back and forth. But when it went on sale at Sephora, I couldn't resist. It was just something that I really felt like would be a fun addition to my collection. I've only had the privilege of using it once, so I definitely need to play with it again. It's not as high up as some others just because I'm not as immediately excited to play with it again. I do think that, I don't know, this could force you to be really creative. For me, like I will say the color story does stump me a little bit. I do think that yes, you can go like I did, just this first green row for my one look that I've done so far. I definitely think you can stick to the rows with it. In the middle, you'll see those are the three multi-chromes that are in it. And they're not multi-chromes. If you've tried indie brand multi-chromes, you know that these are subtle, but they're still beautiful metallics to have in her formula. So I think that they still add a lot to the collection that I have. I think you could have fun doing some looks and some quadrants. I think that they would really kind of sort of force you to think outside the box a little bit, which is fun. So I definitely like that about her palettes. I think that the way she lays out color stories, I think that she really tries to make you think a little bit more sometimes, really allow you to get creative with it. Next, we have the pastel palette. So this was another one I was super on the fence about, but again, she had a lot of her palettes. I think a lot of them are still on sale, if they're even still there, on Sephora, and I just couldn't resist any longer. I think it is really fun for a pastel palette color story. I don't think it is exactly like anything that I've seen or that I have in pastel shades. I absolutely love this bright but yet pastel-y kind of green. I just think it's a lot of fun. It didn't rank as high just because when it comes to sort of pastel shades, it's not sort of a depth of color that I am drawn to, at least to use, especially on its own. I think this is going to be an amazing companion palette amongst my Natasha Deanna palettes. It's just going to have some fun pops of color and some wonderful shades to help blend out some other ones. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun in my collection, and I'm really happy to have it. But as a standalone, it's not something that I'm going to reach for as much. But who knows? We're finally getting into spring weather here in Ontario, so maybe I'll be more inclined to use shades like this even more. So maybe it'll rise up in the rankings. All right, so the next one is a palette that's been in my collection for longer, and this is the Natasha Deanna Love palette. I'm pretty sure I got this one either at or close to when it was released. I saw this color story, and it was just one that amongst what she had released before, which seemed a lot of them very more neutral heavy, this just seemed so bright and colorful and fun for her, so I couldn't resist. Aside at least from those big palettes of hers, but those are like 300 something bucks Canadian, so I'm not going to own those anytime soon. But yeah, this was just something that spoke to me a bit more. I love the pinky and like purple tones that this has, but I haven't reached for it a ton since I got it. I really do need to play with this more. I love the formula and they are beautiful shades, but I just, you know, you have to be in the mood for a pink look. So again, don't reach for it as much as I should, but still love this so much. All right, this is another new one for me. I still can't believe I got this, the Natasha Deanna Sunset palette. I got this for a ridiculously good price on Sephora, and I know that's because they are discontinuing it, so they're probably trying to get rid of the stock, but this is normally $170 Canadian, and I got this for like $59, I think. It was such a good deal, but just look at that color story. Warm tones like this are not something that I'd normally be drawn to, even though I do think that they do look wonderful with my blue eyes, and I should appreciate warm tones more. But it's not something normally I gravitate towards, but there's just something about this one. I just find it so beautiful. I love the formula, like doesn't disappoint at all. And I just think it's just a really, if you're gonna have a warm tone palette, I feel like this is the one to have. So I'm happy I was able to get my hands on it before it was gone. I think the shades are absolutely stunning. Like even just like looking at this shade from like the side here, it just looks so like fiery. I absolutely love this. I need to play with it more. I have only played with it a couple times, but so happy that I got my hands on it, got my collection. One thing I'm so sad about is that the gold palette came back recently and I was waiting for my turn, because I'm only VIB, to be able to have a discount so I could have the discount on top of the sale. I was just waiting because it was a lot of money and it's gone. I'm so sad. I missed out on it again. So I don't know if it comes back for a third time, I might just have to like leap and get it. Although at the same time, if I don't own it yet and it's just coming back for that, I should probably just let it go. But anyways, had to mention that I was sad about that. I totally miscounted. I actually have 11 palettes. Learn to count. But this next one's a new one to my collection. I did not think I would get this one, but when it was on sale, I went for it, and I am just so happy to have the Retro Glam palette in my collection. One, look at the cool packaging. It's just so beautiful. And then look at the inside. I just think this is so beautiful. I love just like the green tones. This just feels so earthy and fresh. Seeing it in person, it is just way more fabulous than I feel like any videos give it justice to. But I couldn't resist, and I'm so happy that I got this. These two shimmers, what are they called? Palladian and Flutter are just absolutely stunning. I couldn't resist, and I love this color story a lot, so it definitely had to be higher up in the ranking. Right, next up, it is the My Dream palette. So when this came out, I knew I really wanted to get this or the retro palette, and I kept going back and forth, but there was just something about this one with the multi-chrome, and then also this shade here in Invention. I love orangey metallic, like orangey golden metallic shades like that, and I just couldn't resist when it came down to it. I kept going back and forth, and I had resisted the retro palette already, so I was like, I need this one. So I got it, super happy about it. I absolutely adore this palette. It excites me. It is so much fun. You can get beautiful daytime looks, evening looks, just fun looks, tamed down look, like it's just everything. You can do everything with this. I think this, if you don't own a Natasha Deanna palette yet, this is definitely this and number one are probably, not probably, they're my top two. So they're what I would recommend if you are hoping to try the brand out for the first time. But yeah, this was such a winner, and I'm so happy that I got it. All right, are we ready? It is time for number one, the Natasha Deanna Retro palette. The one that I couldn't decide between with the My Dream, and it ended up being the one that I loved above all others. There's a reason that this is in a lot of people's top, and it is just so beautiful. Yes, like the Love palette, it is a lot of pinks, and it's even more so because it doesn't really have like that purple break that the Love palette has. But there's something about the mauvey tones along with the pinks. I just love how like there's almost a little bit of warm, a little bit of cool. I think this palette is just, it's got everything. This is so much fun, so beautiful, like all of her palettes, a dream to work with. This palette gets me excited to play with it out of all of them again. So had to be number one, but what else do I say? I absolutely adore this palette, and it is never leaving my side. All right, so that was it. That's my Natasha Deanna collection ranked. I don't know if you would put them in the same ranking based off of maybe any experience you've had with them or what ones you own. But yeah, that's how I feel about them right now. It could change tomorrow. You never know. Let me know what you thought of a ranking video. Do you want to see more of these from me? What brands would you be interested in? Are there other kind of aspects to the video that you would like included? I can always try to include more like swatches in the future. It's just something that takes a lot of extra time, so I want to try this first and get a feel for it. But I am open to ideas. I hope that you liked this video. I would really appreciate a thumbs up. Would love for some comments down below. I love hearing back from you, talking with you down there. And also, it would make my day. Subscribe. Join the Spooky Glam fam that I am trying to grow here. And yeah, that's about it. But I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to check me out on my other socials, Spooky Mama Glam on Twitter. Why did I say Twitter? TikTok and Instagram. I am not on Twitter. And check me out if that didn't scare you away. But take care, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.